Hey, my legion, how y'all doing today? And welcome to the very first movie review of 2016, and this is going to be a big one. There's six movies all in all to be reviewed. And special thanks to my friend Alex Wilson for letting me know that Netflix is getting rid of a whole bunch of movies, really good ones. They already got rid of a whole bunch of them today. I found out about this Wednesday night, and I was able to watch a whole bunch of them before they got rid of them when I woke up today. And they got rid of a whole bunch of good ones to make way for mostly crap, including for families and kids too. They're getting rid of all their Sesame Street stuff for kids, which are good for kids. I don't watch, but they're good for kids. They're getting rid of all that. They're getting rid of a lot of reality stuff, including Pawn Stars and Storage Wars. Getting rid of all that. Getting rid of a lot of great movies, including Clockwork Orange and complete Rocky series, except for the one back Rocky Balboa, the one he did in 2000 something, which is the one I want to see, but of course they don't have that one on there. The original first five, the first three Rambo movies, not the 2000 one. Like I said, Clockwork Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, getting rid of that, getting rid of the Rescuers. January 4th, they're getting rid of a whole bunch of Disney movies. I mean, and the stuff coming in is just garbage. It seems like they're really focusing on their own TV shows, and I don't know, they're getting rid of a lot of good stuff and making room for a bunch of junk. Especially getting rid of Clockwork Orange. Oh, man. Well, anyways, when I saw the list, I wanted to go over some movies. I couldn't see them all. I missed out on seeing some stuff. But what I did see, I'm going to review now. First of all, is Rambo 3. I've never seen Rambo 3. I've seen the first two. And when the third one came out, it came out when I was in Fort Gordon, Georgia. At the movie theater off post, not the military one. The civilian one, the civilian multiplex, And it was a big multiplex. So we didn't really have a multiplex until Tinseltown came out. We had like Cinema World, the ones that played 4 movies in one building. That was about as big as we got back then, And back then there was a whole bunch of sequels, including Rambo 3. But the Rambo 3 is the one I always put off because I didn't think it really looked that interesting. It didn't. It looked completely different from the first two. And because some of the sequels I did see there were like Beverly Hills Cop 2. I saw the movie military theater along with Return of the Living Dead Part 2 and Police Academy 5. Saw those at the military theater. And then the sequels I remember seeing Arthur 2 on the Rocks and what was the other one? Crocodile Dundee 2. There might have been another one, but I can't remember it. And those are what I saw. But I put Rambo 3 on the back burner. I've seen little bits and pieces of it when I was in Germany because someone had it. But I don't know, someone watching it. It just never gathered my interest and stuff like that. And I've been wanting to watch it, but kind of not. And I decided, well, this might be the last chance I ever get to see it, so I might as well go ahead and watch it. And I started watching Wednesday. I just wish that I didn't even know the Rambo movies were on there. I wish I would have known because I probably would have watched Rambo 3 with my dad when he was still alive because he likes Richard Crenna. And basically, this one is, it's after the big hit Rambo came out in '85. It's '88. This came out in 1988, and there's a war going on in Afghanistan again, and they paint Afghanistan in a different light than what's perceived now. With all the soldiers going over there now, it's hell on earth over there now. And apparently they were in a fight with the Russians, and the Russians were the bad guy, and the Afghans were the good guys. And he would go in there. Richard Crenna wanted to know if he'd go down there to help out the Afghani people. And Rambo said, "No, I can't do it." And he said, "Your country needs you." And he said, "Well, I had my war. I don't want to go." Because he was like doing stuff with monks and stuff like that. And he said, all right. And then all of a sudden, Richard Crenna was right there in Afghanistan. And then he gets captured in like a minute. Super quick. And he gets interrogated by a Russian guy and he gets the shit beat out of him. And then that one guy who played the bad guy in RoboCop comes up to Rambo and says, "Hey, I just want to let you know, Richard Crenna, your buddy Richard Crenna he didn't say Richard Crenna, the Colonel, your buddy got kidnapped there." And then Rambo said, "Oh, I'm going down there now." And he said, "Are you sure about that? It's just you. Again, no one's going to claim responsibility for that, so you're on your own." And he said, "Well, that figures." pretty much. I mean, I'm ad-libbing a little bit. And he goes down there, he gets a bunch of weapons, and then he teamed up with the Afghani people. Yeah, they play like a game of the sheep, putting the sheep in a circle and stuff. And then all of a sudden, they get attacked by the Russians, and then he goes to find his friend out, and they said, "We're not going to help you." They sent one guy after that, and all of a sudden you see him crawling right, and he's right there, real quick. I mean, the way they do the juxtaposition or how they said, there's no real editing and stuff like that. He's like right there, right there with he must have low crawled all the way there, millions of miles or however long that fort was, which is really hokey and silly. And I really didn't get into the movie for the most part. And then he caused a bunch of damage, and then Richard Crenna gets the shit beat out of him. And then a whole bunch of stuff with the rescue happens. I don't want to give away the ending, but I will say there's a scene where all of a sudden, they find out, and then all of a sudden it looks like they're on a soundstage. That completely took me out of the movie. And I was having problems with the movie. It's okay, but it was just a standard action movie. I didn't get into it all until like the last 20 minutes. I really started to get into it. And then it became the action movie I wish the whole movie would have been. The last 20 minutes are awesome. And because of that, I probably give it I would have gave it probably a 6 out of 10, but because of that, turning around in the last 20 minutes and me finally getting in the movie, I give it a 6.5%. 6.5 out of 10. And that's why, I mean, it was just weird, though. I mean, because it just wasn't like any of the other Rambo movies and stuff like that. Because I remember seeing well, the second one was a huge hit. And I remember kids coming to school with that Rambo survival knife and stuff like that. And kids, like, their parents bought it for them and stuff like that. My mom would never buy me anything like that. I never even bothered to ask. Because I get wrapped in the mouth. But I mean, that knife was cool. They showed it was really tough showing it off at school. Nowadays, you sure as hell can't do it, but back in the 80s, it was a lot different. Kids used to bring those to school and stuff, and they show that they had the compass on. You take it out, and you got the fishing line and the matches and stuff in there. It was pretty cool. I never had one though, but it was pretty badass from what I seen. And aside from that, it was an alright movie. I liked the banter back and forth. And I liked it whenever he did a little bit of humor, and that helped a lot. But I mean, Rambo 3, it still wasn't the best one, but I'm finally glad I got to see the whole thing. This might be a long-winded review of all movies. And the one thing that was most notable, the one thing that Rambo 3 was the most famous for was it was the most expensive movie made back then in 1988 at a cost of $58 million. Nowadays, things are like hundreds of millions of dollars, and a lot of times movies just can't make that much money back. And a lot of times, I don't know how these people keep making a big billions of dollars, that they do. There's only a handful of movies that really take off and really make back the money that the people spend on them, But it was okay movie. And then the ad campaign didn't really put any real oomph into it. And you just didn't really feel that excited to see it. I'm finally glad I got to see it. Now, I did want to see the very first one, First Blood, because I haven't seen that since I rented it back in, when it came out on video in 83, 84, before Rambo came out. And Rambo was a huge hit, the second one. And First Blood is the shit. It was awesome. And I remember I rented it, and no one wanted to see it. My dad said, I ain't watching that stupid thing. And then he was big to see Rambo when it came out. We rented that, and we watched that a few times. But I remember watching, I was relegated to watching First Blood once late at night. I still remember the scene where Sylvester Stallone comes out. He looks for one of his buddies in Vietnam, and one lady said that he died of cancer about a year ago. And he goes into this town, Brian Dennehy, the sheriff who played a real bastard in this movie. He says, look, kid, you got your hair long, you stink. I'm taking you out of town. I don't want you coming back. And he said, why don't you just, he said, Sylvester wanted to say, can I get something to eat here? And he said, well, there's a place 30 miles up. And he said, why can't I get something to eat here? And he said, look, it's my town, no fucking around. I want you out of here. And it's a peaceful town. I want to keep it that way. So he lets them off at the end of the one bridge. And he said, well, things like 30 miles up there. Just do yourself a favor, just keep on walking. We don't need any trouble. And then Sylvester Stallone, the guy drives away. Sylvester Stallone just turns around and walks back into town. Brian, then he comes and he gets him. He ends up arresting him. And you find out that Sylvester Stallone was a Green Beret during Vietnam, and he was a tortured POW. He ends up kicking ass and beating the shit out of all the sheriffs, and he goes on the run. And it's a thing that, basically, the thing to try to catch Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, and that. And then John Krennic comes down. He says, "I'm not here to save Rambo from you guys. I'm here to save you from Rambo." And it's really good. And there's the scene where the classic scene where he gets cut, and he has the survival knife and he stitches himself up. And that's when they started selling the survival knives, Rambo knives, and kids were buying them up left and right, adults and kids too. Let me see what got something. Okay. And now, this was a good movie. This gets a 10 out of 10. I was surprised my dad didn't want to see it. I think when they showed the commercials, there was a scene of him shooting a machine gun. Dad said it looked stupid the way he looked. So that's how he judged the movie, I guess. But, I mean, it was weird. It was always called First Blood, but in the thing now it's called Rambo First Blood. And then the second one's always been Rambo First Blood Part 2. But now they call it Rambo First Blood. But I call it First Blood. That's the original title. Just like Rambo 3 is Rambo 3 the Ultimate Edition on Netflix. Not anymore, though. They took it off. So that was really good. Now, next one is Grandma's Boy. I thought I'd decide to watch that. Comedy. I decided to watch something funny, and boy, it sure as hell wasn't funny. It sucked. It's really stupid. I liked how they added, at the very beginning, I liked how they showed a little bit of the game Galaga, and at the ending credits, they showed Galaga traveling around and stuff like that. I like that. Because I was a big fan of the movie Galaga, but it's a stoner comedy, and I usually like stoner comedies, but this one was just stupid. It just wasn't funny. Like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Now, that's a stoner comedy that was funny. A lot of the old Cheech and Chong movies are real funny, but not this one. Not Grandma's Boy. It sucks. It revolves around this kid getting kicked out of his house. There's one or two movies there, parts that are a little bit make you smile, but then the whole movie is just so irritating. I hated it. He ends up moving with his grandmother and her two friends. And he's a video game tester, and they actually play, there's a scene in one break room where they were playing, there's somehow Frog Bog from Intellivision, I think, an old 80s game, but I remember playing it on Atari 2600 as Frogs and Flies. I remember playing that. Me and my sister were playing that. Now, that's a fun game. So that brought me back a little bit of memories for that. But the movie is really stupid and really irritating. I was kept knocking down like 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. I'm going to give it probably 1.5 out of 10. The movie really sucks. I hated it. I think it was being a little bit notorious because Shirley Jones from Miss Partridge was in it, but it's a lousy-ass movie. So forget Grandma's Boy. It sucked. Now, the next movie is called The Machinist. Now, The Machinist is awesome. And once again, Netflix takes this movie off. It's no longer on Netflix now. But I'm glad I got to see it yesterday. And this movie is famous for Christian Bale's weight loss. Because to be in a movie, the director required him to lose 60 pounds. And he looks very gaunt, very emaciated, very anorexic. I mean, really super skinny. Flesh and bone, pretty much. But this is an awesome movie. And it talks about his character, and he said he's not able to sleep for like over a year, right? And he has all these problems. He starts hallucinating this one guy named, I can't remember his name. This one crazy guy at work. And his inattention actually costs one worker who's working on a machine to lose his arm, has his arm cut off in the machine, and that guy's played by the great, I forget the guy's goddamn name, Michael Ironside. Michael Ironside's a great actor. And this is the more serious movie he's in, and he's, like I said, he's a fantastic actor. He did a great job in it. And Christian Bale just keeps losing his mind. He thinks there's a conspiracy out to get him. He can't sleep. And the movie is very strange and bizarre. Things could start happening in his life. It's somewhat with the music. It's played out like a Hitchcock type film, except Hitchcock never had like cursing in his movies. he never had an R-rated movie or anything like that. I mean, he pushed controversy some with Psycho in the shower murder scene back then in 1960. But I mean, he never had anything R-rated. So I mean, but it has like different Hitchcock-like influences. And The Machinist is awesome. With Christian Bale, that gets a full-on 10 out of 10. Very creepy, very strange, very nightmarish. Awesome film. Of course, they took that off, of course. Now, another movie that they took off that I saw is Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. And I haven't seen that since I rented that back in... Oh, God. I rented that back in 84. It came out in 82. I rented it in 83, 84, me and my family from... that one video rental place in Edinburgh and stuff. And when I saw it, my mom saw it, my dad saw it. When I saw it, my dad hated Eddie Murphy. He still did. But that's one of his classic movies. That was actually his second movie. I think he was either 20 or 22 when he was in that. And that's like a major, major movie. So he's very lucky to be in something like that. And, you know, in his first movie, 48 Hours was a huge hit too. And Trading Places was a monstrous hit. And a very classic, big budget looking comedy. It still looks really big budget. Directed by the great John Landis. And there's little bits of references to some of his other movies. If you watch that, there's little references back to movies like The Blues Brothers and Kentucky Fried Movie, but you have to know those other two movies and get some of the references in the movie. And basically it's about these two old guys, one by Ralph Bellamy, one's played by Don Amici, and they want to have an experiment saying that would money turn someone in a life of crime, not having money, or would having money corrupt someone, or could someone of good moral fiber still manage if his environment's changed? And Eddie Murphy's a guy down on his luck playing a beggar. And Dan Aykroyd's a real snooty, snobbish guy that has money up the wazoo, you know what I mean? And they decide to flip the script and have Eddie Murphy come in and take over Dan Aykroyd's life and Dan Aykroyd to lose everything and see what happens. And that's a classic movie, and it's awesome. So glad to see that. And I was a little bit scared. I didn't see the whole thing. I wanted to shut off that off Netflix right like 15 minutes before the ball dropped, because I watched this on New Year's Eve. And then after that, I thought, oh God, they're going to get rid of it. And they didn't. I managed to see the rest of that. Actually, I stopped Mama's Boy to watch Machinist and that. And I went back to Mama's Boy. I watched the rest of it. I hated it. I watched the whole thing. And Trading Places was fantastic. It gets a full-on 10 out of 10. Now, the one thing that sucks is they're getting rid of a bunch of Disney movies. And there's a whole block of Disney movies they're getting rid of on January 4th. And one of them is The Rescuers Down Under, which I've never seen. Now, they got rid of The Rescuers today, and I didn't get a chance to see it. Because I saw it, last time I saw the original Rescuers was in 1977. When I came out of the movie theaters, my mom took me and my sister, I was in elementary school, to see it at the West Erie Plaza. I remember during the next 3 years, we went to West Erie Plaza 3 times to see a movie. In second grade, we saw For the Love of Benji. And then in third grade, we saw Rescuers. I think the same year, the year after, in fourth grade, or right around third and first grade, we saw The Cat from Outer Space too, all in the West Erie Plaza. And I really liked The Rescuers. I was going to watch it again, but I didn't have a chance to. And then I went to bed. I got up in the morning, and and I saw the movies were on there, and I went to flip it on, and all of a sudden Netflix went off for a second, came back on, and everything was all changed. Thanks a lot. So I didn't get to see that again, so I didn't compare it to Rescuers Down Under, which I've never seen. Now, Rescuers Down Under, I remember when I was in Fort Bragg, they showed this commercial up the ass, big time, all the time before it came out. And there was an iconic scene where this kid was skidding along this waterfall, and all of a sudden he jumps off of this cliff, and it looks like he's flying. Great shot. I wanted to see the movie. I remember my roommate went on leave, and he said it sucked really bad. He said it was one of the worst movies he's ever seen. And I don't remember if they played that in the Army, or if they did, or I missed it or something. I can't remember when they played it. I never saw it. And I just kind of forgot about it. And I'm glad I saw it. I actually watched it today. The nice thing about Rescuers Down Under is still on until January 4th. So anyone watching this video, if you want to see Rescuers Down Under, you still got a couple of days. They're not going to take off till Monday. You got Saturday and Sunday to watch it. So definitely watch it. I mean, I haven't done a review yet, but the one thing about The Rescuers is Bob Newhart's one of the voices. I'm a big Bob Newhart fan. This is the one Bob Newhart movie I never saw. And I'm glad I finally saw it. It's about this boy who lives pretty much with his mom out in the middle of nowhere in this little shack. And I definitely think this came out in 1990 that this was influenced them doing the whole Down Under thing because of Crocodile Dundee. I really think that's a big influence on this movie, the Crocodile Dundee movies. And Disney said, well, why don't we do like a Crocodile Dundee version? Because they did like on Disney Afternoon, they did Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, and they had one of the characters was Australian, if I'm not mistaken. I was never a fan of the Rescue Rangers, but I did like the movie The Rescuers. And basically, this is about this kid. He goes to save this giant eagle, and he ends up falling off. He's on this precarious cliff, and he ends up falling off, and the eagle gets him, and then he takes him around on this thing, and then he lets him go, and that's when he skids on the waterfall, and he flies off. Because I wondered how that happened, and they showed how that happened with the eagle. And there's a poacher, a very mean poacher, and a voice work by George C. Scott, who did a great job. Very evil Disney character with barely any redeeming qualities on this one. Because Disney has some pretty mean characters on their movies. I mean, mean villains on their movies. And he had like a little sidekick of a lizard, you know. And he ended up capturing the boy. He was gonna let him go, but he ended up capturing the boy because he found out he had like this eagle feather. And he could lead him to this eagle, and he's a poacher, and he really wants this giant eagle, and he wants the eagle eggs too. He ends up capturing the kid, and he sets it up with his backpack to make it look like he got killed by crocodiles, and they're all locked up. And because of this, he got kidnapped. There's this one mice, and they communicate through all this like telegraph system, stuff like that. And in New York, the two characters from The Rescuers, the one played by Ava Gabor and the other with the voice work by Bob Newhart, find out about it. And Bob Newhart was going to propose to Ava Gabor. They find out about this, and then they go straight to Australia. They team up with this albatross to fly him down there. And the albatross is voiced by none other than John Candy. It was cool seeing him in another cartoon, but it's so weird hearing his voice work in an animated movie. Keeps referring me back to his work in Heavy Metal, which is like an R-rated film, not a Disney film by any standards, you know. And they get down there, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. My friend was saying, I remember my friend who didn't like it said it takes forever for them to try to rescue the kid and stuff like that. It's only 77 minutes long. He said it was really boring, but I really enjoyed it. It's not a perfect Disney film by any means. But it's cool because there's lots of situations that they get in that you're not really sure how they're going to get out of. And another voice actor was, where did I have it written down at? Played by Bernard Fox. And that one albatross gets injured, and he's going to get, like, operate on to fix his back. And doctor's played by Bernard Fox, who's famous for playing Dr. Bombay on Bewitched. And his character was pretty interesting, and it was a lot of fun. And in a little way, that whole surgical thing when he's on the operating table, a little bit disturbing. I don't know, it might scare little kids a little bit, or it might be funny. I don't know. But it was a very entertaining movie. It ended really kind of abruptly. And I don't want to give away anything at the end. And like I said, not a perfect Disney movie, but very entertaining. I was on the fence about giving it 8.5 to a 9. Because it ended as abruptly as it did, I'll probably give it 8.5 out of 10. But definitely worth watching for your kids. It's on Netflix. Rescues Down Under till January 4th. And like I said, the original Rescuers, they took it off today. So it's a shame. And they're getting rid of a whole bunch of other Disney movies like Fox and Hound and Dumbo and a whole bunch of other stuff that I didn't even know was on there. It seemed like Netflix is... The stuff they're getting isn't that good. I mean, Too Fast, Too Furious is coming on, and Meet the Fockers, which I never saw. I might watch Meet the Fockers, or I like to call Meet the Fuckers. But that's just me. But there you have my reviews of a whole bunch of movies. A very long movie review. Probably one of my longest movie reviews ever. Reviews for movies. Rambo 3, First Blood, Grandma's Boy, The Machinist, Trading Places, and Rescue Us Down Under. I hope you like this review. Like I said, Rambo 3, pretty good. I'm glad I saw it. First Blood was a shit awesome. Grandma's Boy actually sucked. The worst of the 6. Machinist was awesome. Trading Place was awesome. Rescues Down Under was pretty close to being pretty darn good and awesome. But not quite. But 8.5 out of 10 is pretty good. So there you have it for my big movie review, my very first movie review, my mega movie review of 2016. So until next time, everybody, please take care of my legion. Now to upload this, upload one other thing, and then I gotta do clothes, do laundry, do dishes, do a little more in the checkbook, and I'm gonna chill out. Well, I gotta get a bath, and then chill out and watch some more TV. So, hope you like this video, and like I said, till next time, take care of my legion.